Okay, welcome back to Shiur 2. As mentioned, first of all, thanks so much. It's incredible. We're actually working on, I know Yoyev's father is very, very involved. A lot of your fathers are very involved. Elchanan Greenbaum. And literally, this is not a small little game. This is a massive army trying to prepare to make sure. And Beryl Wolf's father is actually very involved. Actually, Beryl Wolf, I think it was Beryl Wolf. So Yoyev's father, Mamish, we're getting a real professional, a guy that works in the shipping companies and traffic companies to be able to set out, and they're going to give him hopefully up to 500 names to really spread all over Melbourne. So what you boys are doing are incredible. But like I said, we don't want to make that silly mistake of all of a sudden everyone mute themselves. And well, I'll just do that. Okay, I meant to mute everyone. Okay. So it's extremely important that we know the halachas. We're going to give you, so don't be too nervous. We're going to give you a synopsis also at the end. If you look at the end of your booklet, there's the what we call Shofar for Dummies. It's important that you know the whole story so you can feel confident and walk down and say, I was Mivtza X amount of Yidden, even one Jew. But if we don't do it right, you could blow your head, blow till you're blue, and still someone might not be Yotze. So let's get this right. I want to just start off quickly. I want to just start off quickly, just going through the answers of last time, just for the sake of we know where we're holding. Okay, so our first question was, according to the Torah, how many tkiyas should one blow, and what's the format? The answer is you have to blow 9 sounds. And the breakdown was basically the Torah wanted you to blow 3 times. But every time you blow a trua, it needs to be accompanied with a tkiya, and also afterwards a tkiya. So the format really is tkiya, trua, tkiya. I think this is an awful background. Tkiya, trua, tkiya, and tkiya, trua, tkiya. Now the only issue is that we weren't sure what exactly is a tkiya. That was the big. What's a trua? Because a trua is, as we know, it's a cry. And there was a machlekes between Chachamim what type of cry that was. Okay, that's the next question. What are the 3 different sounds of the trua might be? Is it a shvarim? Shh, shh, shh. I'm only saying that to help us remember which one's the shvarim versus which one's the trua. So shh, shh, the shvarim, the 3 long, which is really a cry. Ooh, 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 versus a trua like which is the 9 quick ones, or is it both? And therefore, the Chacham said we need to have all combinations because every trua needs to be accompanied directly before and directly after with the trua. So we got that, yes? All right. So therefore, from 3 turns into 30 because we need to try now every combination. Moving on into question 3 was, what are the names of the 4 types of sounds? Of course, we broke them down into trua, which is a long, simple, a shvarim, which is 3, 2, 2, 2, a trua, which is 9, a minimum of 9, and the tkiya again. All right, so which is the 4 are tkiya, shvarim, trua, or shvarim trua, basically, which is the 3, then the 9 short. Okay, how many sounds do Chachamim blow in order to ensure the mitzvah? So we just explained that we have to do up to 30 because now we need that every trua is accompanied with a tkiya before, tkiya afterwards. And I told you it's important to know the difference between Doiraisa and the Rabbanan simply because if it's an emergency, and that should usually not happen. Don't rely on Doiraisa because it's very complicated. We're only talking about a real scenario where the tram is coming and the guy's not interested. But don't be afraid. A guy is willing to stay with you for 30 seconds. Don't be afraid to say, hey, and I always warn the guy, say, oh, it'll just be 2 minutes. It'll be a bit long, like literally 2 minutes and we're done. It's going to be, and sometimes you might want to say it's going to be different types of sounds. We'll do it right. I'll do it quick. You'll love it. Boom. Even if the guy doesn't love it, it's fine. You tell him he loves it. Okay. But in an emergency situation, you need to know the Doiraisa, and there is a machlokes what to do in an emergency situation. And the consensus is that you do tashrat, tashrat, tashrat. There are different machlokes, and some Rabbanim say we'll do one of each, but we'll just go with the local Rabbanim usually say you just do 3 tashrats. What if you're not Yotze? Okay, let's move on. So which shofar? A kosher. So we said ram's horn or goat. Best is, of course, is a ram. Best is, like we said, which ones are not. Obviously, anything like a bull, you wouldn't really, it's not so practical, you wouldn't come encounter with it. But just so you know, if you had a cow's horn, which I actually once had in my parents' home when I was a child, we actually had a cow's horn. And I believe that you do use it, but it's not a kosher for two reasons. First of all, it's not a real, it's only a keren, it's not a shofar. Shofar means hollowed, and the way it's made is not really hollowed. You have to forcibly to be hollowed, as opposed to a shofar. You can literally remove the cartilage. What's the best type of shofar? We said from a ram, because that reminds Hashem of a kid Yitzchak. Okay, also what type? It should be bent, because it reminds us being bent over, dedicated, devoted to Hashem. All right, what's the smallest size of a shofar? We said that's 8, who remembers, 8 centimeters, because the idea is that it should be a bit more than a tef, it should be a tefach. A tefach is that, more than your 4 fingers, because we want it to basically go through your fingers and be sticking out from both sides, so you can see you're not just blowing into your hands, but you're blowing into an actual shofar. Okay. The best time to blow the shofar is from sunrise versus daybreak. But in an emergency situation, you could do it from daybreak. For example, if your father is a doctor and he's got to go out, or whoever, your neighbor's a doctor, has got to go out first thing in the morning by 6 a.m., so you could check the earliest time. And like we said, you're allowed to blow, not until Shkia, but till Tzei Sakichavim. You can blow till Tzei Sakichavim. So if you're ready, it's Shkia time, until 3 stars out, continue blowing without a bracha. We be might as many people as possible. We're holding now page, okay. We spoke about the brachas that you make Shechianu both days, although this year there's only one day, there's only Mashiach comes and blowing the Beis HaMikdash. But there's only the second day, Sunday, so anyways, there's no issue with Shechianu. On a normal year, the Baltekeya, it's not so practical for Mivtza. It's really practical if you're in a shul and you're the Baltekeya, then you should be wearing something new, because we do make a Shechianu, but we want even the second day, although we already said Shechianu yesterday on Shofar, we want to say today again, but to be Yoitza all the days that some say you shouldn't really make a Shechianu, so you put on a new clothing. If you don't have new clothing, you'll still say Shechianu, and like I said, first of all, it's not so practical for Mivtza, because you're not, also most people that you're blowing for have not heard the day before, especially this year, not an issue at all, there's only one day Shofar. We spoke about now.
Do you say Shechianu every time you blow for someone, or just the first time on that day?
No, so you're not, okay, so we're going to get about who says the brachas. We're going to get into that, because you only say the bracha once. If you're saying for another person, that's not your bracha, it's their bracha. So you're going to say Shechianu for them, right? Okay. So every time it's someone's only time hearing it that day, so day 1 and day 2, you're always going to say Shechianu. Even the best scenario is that they say Shechianu. Please stop mucking around your cameras, everyone, so we could stay focused on information and not just focused on the Zoom, different things you can actually do with Zooms, which I guess are quite cool, but let's go. Okay. Sadi, you want to turn yourself over? I'd appreciate it. Okay. Now, how to hold a shofar. We're holding now page 6. Let's get focused. Everyone's with me? Yes? Guys, pay attention. Let's get involved. We're probably, as it seems now, and I'm happy we're not rushing this, we probably won't end this week, we'll probably end next week, but I told you I did this on purpose. I just wrote for the 3rd week test just to figure out what we're going. Right after that, we, Baruch Hashem, acquired. It was very difficult. They're not the most expensive shofars, I'll tell you straight up, obviously, but we hopefully got the ones. How it's going to work is going to be first comes, first served. That means once you took your test and you're approved, you'll come to my house or the shluchim. I'll be 2 locations. And you'll be able to pick out a shofar. They'll all be in bags, so you're not going to test out every one with all your COVID saliva. So each one will be bagged. You'll have to make a lucky choice, and you'll be able to go through them. But okay. So as soon as then the last 2 shiurim will be able to try to teach you how to blow shofar. Even if you know how to blow, I highly recommend you come to at least one of them. Okay, as we see, we'll go. Now, Oifen achizas a shofar, so we're holding page 6. After besiyam bracha shechianu, after you finish shechianu, yikach hatoikeya as a shofar b'yaminoi, you take it in your right hand. V'yitka le'inyan aniyas amen shel v'yitka la'achar aniyas amen shel tzibur. You got to be very careful. They have to hear every moment, even if you're rushing. and you want to sound like we do this problem also in Kriyas Torah all the time, as we're bar mitzvah boys, we want to like show everyone we really got this. So before the guy finishes the bracha, by the time the tzibur is still answering amen, you're already half into the Kriyas Torah. You gotta wait. I see this all the time by Chazar Sashatz as well. You can't start a new bracha until everyone finishes saying amen because they have to hear you. So by Tkiyah Shofar, take that extra pause for everyone to finish the bracha and everyone to say amen. Then Toiv L'Tkoya B'Tzad Yamin. If possible, obviously the best scenario is we want to make kosher sound. So that is the priority. The priority is to get kosher sound. So if it means you can only blow on your left, because that's where you got a handle on your lips, then be it. So be it, because the most priority is not the hidurim, but the mitzvah, to get that sound out. But best, if it's the same to you, then, and especially if you're just learning, then practice on your right side, because on the right side of your mouth, if possible. The story of Eov, it says that the Satan was standing on the Eibishter's right, and we want to blow his mind off. So that's the idea, right? We want to just give him a bit of a shake and a tziter. So,
but isn't it if we do it on our left, then we'll hit Hashem's right? Isn't that do it for Shalom?
Good question. I don't know the answer to that. And good question. Maybe because you're the Baltikea, so like the Chazan does.
Simot Kaddish.
Right. So it's a good question. But anyways, he says do it on the right. Maybe it's just more of a simon because there's no real right. Maybe it's just more of a simon because Rosh Hashanah, don't forget, is all about simanim, right? Just it's the mood of showing we're blowing the Satan out of the sky. So good to shot.
I'm a lefty. I mean, I don't know if that has anything to do with blowing on the left, but I always blow on the left mainly. And I tried this morning blowing on the right. It didn't really work.
Okay, so as mentioned, I'm going to repeat. So no need to ask if I already said it, but good point.
The
point I made was the biggest priority is to get a kosher sound out. My next point is try to blow it out. You're right. Like he says over here, if it's possible. Because it says that the Satan is not Vitkiyah, as we know, the idea of the Tkiyah is to be Mavalvel, the Satan, to confuse him. All right. Again, these are all metaphors. So, all right, another thing is, it's much better to put the shofar on your right side, not on your left. Up, facing up. So, not every shofar is practical because a lot of shofars like turn to the side. But if possible, definitely try not to face the shofar down. Don't face the shofar down. Face your shofar up, because don't do it on the side. Because based on the pasuk, we're trying to show that we're going up to Hashem, and the koilos go up to Hashem. So where is possible? Just looking around for one of our shofars, but okay, just want to show you an example, but you get it. To blow, let me bring one anyways, just so we could, in case we need further examples. So obviously this one's a no-brainer. This one. So here you would just do it up, although I wouldn't say so much as a no-brainer, because it'd be much easier and more practical like this. But if you see it's still facing up, this is definitely should not do it, and also best if possible don't do it, so I could do it always. Best is to do it facing up. Allah, based on the pasuk, Allah Elokim B'Sruah. I'm trying to avoid, if there is an Inyan Al Pi Kabbalah not to blow shofar at night, so I'm trying to avoid most of the sounds, so maybe just a little bit of a sound there. But there is, just so you know, it's not so good to blow to practice at night. Although I think we might have to for sure, unless we do it a bit earlier. Okay, it's just something we try to be careful. Peh shofar, the mouth of the shofar says it's some of the lipiv l'loy shum hefsek. The mouth's got to be. So if you're a super trumpet man and you literally know you're scared of COVID, so you say, I don't want your germs. So you go with a chavrusa, although hopefully no one's going to chavrusas this year because we need as many guys on the streets as possible. And you go in your chavrusa and you say, well, germs, I'm not going to blow into the shofar, I want to blow into my fingers. And you manage to you manage to put your finger space, your mouth got to touch. It's the mitzvah to blow into the shofar, not to blow into your fingers. So your mouth has got to touch. Not even with an ear hefsek, even if my finger's not in between. There's nothing between me and the shofar. And you manage to get out a sound. I don't know how to do that, to be honest. But if you manage to get out a sound without it touching your mouth, okay, I'm going to practice some other time. It's usur. You have to touch your lips to the actual shofar. Lo yotzi dechevasa. If not, you're not yoitza. Now, just to let you know, and this is why you kind of need a hashkacha on a shofar, because at the edge, I'm just curious how this works, but you can't really either shellac the bitter end of the shofar because your mouth's got to touch directly on the shofar. So exactly how that works. Okay. So let's do question 9. I hope you got your pens. How should one actually hold and blow the shofar? Lichatchila b'di'evet. Hold it lichatchila on your right side. There's just 2 parts of this. It should be on the right side of your mouth and facing up. Not b'di'evet, obviously, even if you faced it towards the third says there's 3 elements. It should be on the right side. It's got to be facing up, and it's got to touch your lips. B'di'evet, your yoitze, if it's on your left side or facing down, but you're not yoitze if it's not physically touching your lips. So l'chatchila is that it should be all 3 elements: your right side facing up and touching your lips. B'di'evet, your yoitze if it's not facing up it's not on your right side, but you will not be yoitze even b'di'evet if it was not touching your actual lips. Let's move on to question 10. First, the paragraph. Davi, please stay focused. Okay,
Menachem, could you please repeat mine again? Sorry.
Okay, yeah. Also, don't forget we're recording this, so if you're having a hard time with all the questions, just go back and we'll once again post all the recording. By the way, I hope you saw it last week. It's on the chat. If you're not aware, and if someone missed it by mistake, you missed one shiur, you couldn't pay one shiur back via going through the YouTube. Okay, so once again, answer to 9 is the 3 conditions is that it should be on your right side. The chatchila should be on your right side. The mouth of the shofar should be facing up, or the edge of the shofar should be facing up. And number 3, it's got to touch your physical lips. B'di'evet, you're still yoitze if it was facing down or on the left side, but you're not yoitze if it wasn't touching your lips. Moving on, hatakeya, the blower tzarech lamed b'shas hatakeya. He's got to blow. I included this this halacha also, so you should know this includes all areas of when a person's required to stand. And you see this mistake being done during Shemona Esrei a lot. If it's a scenario where you need to stand, then you're also not allowed to lean on something in such a way that if I pull it away from you, you'd fall on the floor. So davening Shemona Esrei, leaning on a table, even though you say your feet are physically straight, it's not about your physically feet straight. There's a halachic category of standing. Standing means you're not leaning on something so much so that if I pull the stender away, you're going to flop on the floor. So you could have a bit of a lean. You could have a bit of a touch and lean on the bima, but it has to be in a way that if I schlep it away from you, you're not going to fall to the floor. So the toikeya, although as we know that the set of shofar that we blow, the major set is actually called tkiyas demeyushav, the sitting set. Here is why. The blower must, so whether you're saying you're tired, you got to stand. The toikeya tzarech lamed b'shasha toikeya. He's got to stand while he's blowing. V'lachein yizahir. Therefore, he's got to be careful. For some people, it might be very tempting. He just went through a long Shemona Esrei. The Chazan just did a mass of shots. Finally, you have a long Kriyas HaTorah, and you're standing. You're the Baltika, and you're standing in front of the bim. It's a bit tempting to get a little, and you're using your breath. You're a bit knocked out. It's a bit tempting to lean on that bima. Yizar, be careful, throughout the tkiyas, don't lean al davar on anything. But oifin, in such a way, she'im yusar oisei davar, don't lean so hard on something in such a way that if that thing was suddenly removed, yachel hulipa, you would fall. However, im ta'av v'taka kashu yashav. What if you're totally knocked out? Well, it doesn't even say that, because this is what you should do. What if b'di'eved you sat Are you yaitza? The answer is yes. Yatsi de chayva. The ein tzarich, you don't need to re-blow them. Ein tzarich, lachzar shuv al tkiyas. Hashoimim, the listeners, me'ikar adin, should be told, lechatchila, the main din is that they don't have to stand. They're the listeners. They can sit respectfully in their place. El yecholim l'shevas, they may sit. And therefore, actually, this to differentiate the two tkiyas, because there are going to be different dinim, what we know as now, the tkiyas de miyushav versus tkiyas de mu'umad. Who could tell me what that means? What's the translation?
Sitting tkiyas and standing tkiyas.
The sitting tkiyas and standing tkiyas. We need to differentiate the two tkiyas. The sitting tkiyas are the main tkiyas. So when you're Mivtzayim, what will you be blowing?
Sitting, Yushav.
Only the sitting tkiyas. And we need to differentiate them like we'll see soon. So it's called sitting, not because we suggest you to sit. The tekeya, first of all, got to stand anyway, so don't get confused by its name. The tekeya's got to stand regardless. However, Avi knew if the tekeya sat down as a yoitza, do you have to reblow them?
But yeah, no.
The Yabed is yoitza, he doesn't have to reblow them. Very good. However, everyone else, technically, they're allowed to sit. And that's why we actually call, we when we want to give terminology or differentiate between the two sets of tkiyas, we call this the sitting tkiyas because technically everyone could sit. But because we also know that the tkiyas, what else do tkiyas represent other than, besides the mitzvah, what else does it represent?
Crying.
What else? What else? Tzvi Rubin, do you know? What does the tkiyas represent? Or anyone else?
Why me?
Why not? Anyone, give us a shot.
Morning.
Well, I don't know what it
Morning.
means besides crying.
So Nunu, come on.
Morning.
What do we do on Rosh Hashanah? What are we doing?
Crowning Hashem.
Crowning Hashem. It's a coronation. We're blowing. We are re-accepting Hashem as our king. And the way to do that is obviously standing. Right? So Gam Hashem, the tradition is that the listeners should also stand. But the tkiyas that we blow during Musaf, because people have to stand for, first, obviously, while you're doing the private Musaf, but even the public Musaf, there's certain parts where you're supposed to be standing. So therefore, and first of course, the quiet Shemoneh Esrei, everyone's for sure standing. So we term those tkiyas as tkiyas the mu'umid, the standing tkiyas. Okay, so who and when needs to stand when blowing shofar like atchila b'diavad? No.
L'tchatchila the Baltican, everyone, b'diavad, they don't have to.
So b'diavad you're yoitza. So obviously, really.
Wait, b'diavad you're yoitza if the Baltikeo sits down?
Yes, we said, but the Kea said he does not need to reblow. So although it's more important than there's two parts, and this you don't need to write, but I would write it if you want to make a note to yourself, so to speak, that the chatchila everyone should stand. In first stance, b'diavad, it's important, that people could sit. So if you're in an old age home, you definitely don't need to make everyone crazy to stand. And if it's not a practical situation, then it's fine if everyone's sitting. We don't need a machzich meshuga. The tradition is to stand, but they're called miyushav. Everyone may sit if that's the best scenario. But you should be standing.
And that would be l'chachila?
Well, he said, in a way, yeah. He says, "Me'ikar din," and me'ikar din means the main din. Like, yes, they use the word nahagu. The custom is to stand. So I wouldn't lechatchila try to get everyone to stand. Mivtza is very easy. Most people standing anyway. And you could say, everyone, let's rise for the kids. But if you feel people are going to start running out, and don't be so intimidated. We're usually afraid more of ourselves than everyone. And what if they're going to think they're going to run out? Stop being so afraid to do. You're a hero. You're a mitzvah maker. So don't be afraid to say, Chavre, we got to stand up. But if it's not practical, then mi'ikar adin, it's fine. It is fine, mi'ikar adin. It's not something that you have to go and sit a nefesh for. Best that you should stand, and if you weren't standing, you're also yaitza. Okay. Here is the complicated part. Not so much, so hold your head. I'm gonna bring up a slide that's really from the Shofar for Dummies. Well, I attach it also to this. So give me a second. Let me bring up. Oh, I closed it. So give me a rega. Mivtza Shofar. There we go. Let's start okay, let me share my board. B'vakasha. Screen share. Please, as mentioned, always, please don't muck around. I might have fixed that up, but don't test it. Okay. Why won't it start? There we go. All right. So here is, let's maybe first go to the screen, then we'll look at it inside. Your tkiya, what is the category of a tkiya? In a simple, right, if I ask you what's a tkiya, you're going to tell me in English, a long blow. So how long is long and how long is not too short? When I say long, how short can't it be? So look what it says. Your tkiya has to be as long as the metal set, okay? I.e., by tashat or tarat, the tkiya should be 9 moments long, right? Because the truth is a trua any longer than a tkiya? No, sorry, is a trua and a shvarim the same long? They are the same long. Because the amount of a shvarim is about 3, it's supposed to be 3 truas. Let's call them moments, just to, right? So let's call them moments, just like boop, 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 boop. So how many moments is a trua? It's really how many tnuas, how many movements. Let's call them a moment, right? How many moments, how many movements, how many notes are in a trua? 9 notes. How many moments really are in a shvarim? Also 9. Because each shvarim is a bit longer. Each shvarim contains about 3 truas. Making sense? So the middle is all 9 moments. I'm going to call them 9 seconds. It doesn't really take a full second. So I'm calling it 9 moments. There are 9 moments, about 9 moments in a trua, because there's 9 quick sounds. So let's call each breakdown a moment. And there are 9 moments also in a shvarim, because every shvarim is 3 moments. That's about as long as they are, right? So if there's 9 moments in a tkiya, in a shvarim and a trua, how long then? How long then is the tkiya of the tashat and tarat? You guys know by now what a tashat is and tarat is? Tkiya shvarim trua or tkiya trua tkiya. We call it tashat or tarat. How long should your tkiya be?
9 moments.
9 moments, right? Roughly 9 seconds or really less. So I literally, when you're in a rush, you gotta really you gotta be careful, because you can't just go, oh, sorry. If you're blowing a very short tkiya, how is that different than a shvarim? So if I'm like super rushing, okay, I got this, I'm such a good Mivtza guy. That's not Mivtza. So what I do is I physically count till 9 very quickly, by the way, because
much less than a second.
It's much less than a second. So I don't count the 9 seconds. I just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because how much is the true, right? So I literally go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll count in my head. And I just count. I'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then maybe a drop extra, right? Just so I know I got it down pat. Here's the tricky part. How long then does the tkiya of a tashrat have to be?
It have to be as much as
18.
So as long as so how much is that? Shvarim and trua, right?
18 moments.
18. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Rabbi, I've been thinking the shvarim and the trua in my head when I blow the tkiya.
Okay. Whatever tricks you want to, whatever tricks you want to use. There's the trick that I use. So I'll literally start counting till 18 in my head, because it's very difficult, because we want to, right? We want to do it down pat. We want to get this mitzvah before this guy barges off. And obviously, if you have the time, then do it nicely. But if you're rushing, still, the key has got to be long. It's got to be as long as the whole middle. So the tashrat, the tashrat, it's got to be 18 moments. Now, it's quick moments. I'll count to 18 very quickly. Maybe like a person. And I'll be doing my mind. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Rabbi, so you think you're not going to blow?
Well, just for sakes, I got to blow.
Rabbi,
yes.
This question isn't totally relevant, but can you change the shofar you're using in the middle if you're having difficulty with one and you have another one?
So we're going to get to it. You can even trade Balkarius, Bali Tekeya.
What they had to do?
The Rebbe for sure. The Rebbe came. That's what you should have is all the shofars in front of you, all your potential shofars. So the way the Rebbe would do it, he would lie down, I believe, 3 shofars. it was actually very Kabbalistic. We hardly saw any, you never saw the Rebbe doing holy things in public. Hardly ever. So you never saw the Rebbe's holiness, and holiness means abstract, right? The Rebbe was very down to earth, so Kaddish means like abstract. You never really witnessed holiness by the Rebbe, and the few times you did was Tkiyas, Simchas Torah, Napoleon's March, mysterious things would happen. So Tkiyas, the Rebbe would come in with big peklach, and it was very mysterious because the Rebbe would have tons of peklach that would go with him to the oil Erev Rosh Hashanah. Then the Rebbe would come back from the oil. So Erev Rosh Hashanah, the Rebbe would stand for hours collecting panim while we're all right. Everyone knows how busy Erev Rosh Hashanah is. But here the Rebbe is, the Nasi Adar is standing for hours collecting panim. He would then go to the oil till mamish late. He would come back mysteriously with some of these panim. And then you sometimes see the Rebbe come with his reading glasses, which is again a mystery. No one, the Rebbe, by davening, the Rebbe didn't use reading glasses. It's just a mystery. You knew, like it was something when the Rebbe pulled out his reading glasses. And the Rebbe threw his talis off. If you listen close, and I don't remember. I was obviously quite young, but I actually do remember Tkiyas, and I got lucky. I was literally, the Rebbe was on this bima, so the bima was literally raised. So the bima was higher. The whole bima was higher than the table. So I would be sitting, let's say, on a table. There was tables all around the bima, and then there was a bima on top where the Rebbe was. So my brother says, Imam Nishir, the Rebbe crying. But then the Rebbe would start switching shofars underwear. You had no idea. It was one of the shofars, I believe, was from the Tzemach Tzedek or Marash. Things would go on. No one, anyways. And the fact of the matter is, you know that the way the Rebbe blows shofar was like if the Rebbe all of a sudden got stuck. You know, it was very strange.
Were they every two?
There was once it took 45 minutes.
Let's not get too carried away just because of the lack of time. But the answer is that when you make your bracha, you should have all potential shofars in front of you because you want to make a bracha on that shofar. So you should have all potential shofars on you. You're welcome to switch as many shofars as you want. Mazbal Tikea. First, if you're smart.
Zero. What if you're Mivtza? You don't know. You only one.
Mivtza, you only have one shofar. But if you're smart and you're doing a full shofar, then people come with more than one shofar because you're coming back up. Don't worry, like I never needed backup, but you could change Bali Tekea. We'll get to that. Let's stay focused because I want to concentrate on what we're learning.
Rabbi.
The length of your Tekea has got to be as long as your middle. So the Tashrat Tekiyas are actually longer than the Tarat and Tashat Tekiyas. Does that make sense to everyone? Yes?
Yeah, if you make your Tekea longer, does your like...
That's fine. The only thing that has limits is your Shvarim. Your Truas are allowed to go, you're allowed to make 100 truas. The Rosh has a shtick, I don't know why, he blows until, I think it's some shtick from somewhere that he blows truas until he goes blue. And it's a whole like excitement, everyone counts, like ridiculous. But anyways, but I think...
but if you make your tekias longer, does your like shvarm have to be the same as your tekiah?
No. So it doesn't have to, the middle doesn't have to match the end. The ends have to be as long, think of the logic. The logic is that your tekiyas can never sound like a shvar. So it's got to be longer than your middle. How long their middle should not be? No, fakir. In a way, it's got it right. It's just got to be long as your whole middle, just so it doesn't sound like a middle. But there are definitely no limits to how long the tekiah is. And you
basically, you're saying the tekiah has to be longer than the shvar.
Well, longer than the middle. Okay, so if it's a trua of 9 moments or a shvarim and a trua are the same long. There's 9 moments in a true and in 3 shvarim, and there's 9 moments in 9 truas. The challenge is, or the bit more challenge is
basically they can go as long as you want. They just need to be longer than
longer than the middle. So it's shorter. So obviously we're talking about in the opposite scenario where you want to go quickly. If you want to go quickly, it's got to be a minimum of 9, count till 9 in your head. And the tashrat's got to be.
What if the shin or the rage and the short what if you make them, let's say, like say you make 200 truas? Do you have to make the length of 200 moments for the tekiah?
No, the tekiah just has to be technically bigger than the middle. Doesn't matter how big the middle is. It just has to be a longer sound. So let's look at the words again. Your tekiah has to be as long as the middle in that set. So in other words, by tashat and tarat or tarat, the tekiah should be as long at least as 9 moments. And by tashrat, it's got to be a minimal of 18 moments long. And like I write, there's a practical advice. Count 18 quickly in your head. What?
Differently.
Say that again?
How do we write it into the thing if it's words?
Okay, we're gonna do let's do the sif now, and then we'll write the answers. Okay. The length of the tkiya tzarich liyas has got to be behisam, fitting to the trua of that order. Behisam fitting to the trua shalai say the kalim. In other words, the oirich of the tkiya of tashrat tzarich liyas lafach is kairich shal shvarim v'trua yachad. Right? This is what we just explained. That the length of a trua of a tkiya of the shvarim trua set, the double set, it's got to be as double as long at least. Has to be 18 moments. Oirich atkiya betashat only has to be at least lefachis oirich hashvarim, and the oirich atkiya betarat, which is really the same. So it should have said tarat or tashat or tashat because the middle trua and the middle shvarim are supposed to be the same long. So at least lefachis betashat trua. Now to answer all your questions, yachel laharich betkiya yoser. He is allowed to go more than the middle. Kefida tzayinai, even if the middle is very short. He's allowed to go so long as he wants. Okay, now here's the breakdown. Shvarim, what is a shvarim? Murkavim mishalish koilis. It's made up of three noises. Do, do, do. Oirich kol shever. How long should each do be? It can't be too long. By the way, I told you the shvarim have two limitations. Truas, how many truas can you make? Up to how many?
Infinity.
How many shvarim can you make?
3.5.
Only 3. Why? Okay, we'll talk about that bit in a second. Only 3. Why? Because if you make more, it's going to start turning into truas. Even if they're longer groans, but if you're constantly doing it, that's really a trua. So it can't be too much. What if you want to make them short? And of course, then comes a problem of a trua sound. And if you want to make each shvarim long, more than 3 moments, what happens?
Now it starts sounding like a tkiya.
It's a tkiya. So the shvarim is very, very limited, where it shouldn't be really more than 3 moments. Do. Shouldn't be too short. Do, do, do. You can't do that for shvarim. Do, 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 do. It's got do, do, do. It's got to at least count 3 quickly in your head. Do, do, do. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, very good. So the shvarim is made up of 3 sounds. Oirich kol shever, the length of every sound. Tzarich liyas lefachas k'shir shalosh ulalis has to be at least 3 moments, 3 truas. So you could go longer than 3 truas. So just to stand a bit corrected, yachal laharich by until less than 9, right? Because less than 9 is not a trua, not a tkiya. So you can go, woo, you can go till about 8. Don't play with that last second over there, because once you go a bit too long, it starts sounding like a tkiya. So you can go till the.
Probably advisory not to go more than 6 or so, because you don't know, you can't really judge.
Rabbi,
because if you go past, if you go into 9, if you're each shever, woo, if your shever goes too long and it's 9 moments, then all of a sudden it starts to be a tkiya. B'machim shever, instead of trying to blow a shever. K'may tkiya, so say the tarat. V'shayv shleish is shradim on a negim l'haisif. Our minig, the Lubavitcher minig, is that after the 3, we're maisif oid chatzi kol pasha. Another half a shever. K'loimer ke'ein tkiya tzara ma'oid. Like a tiny tkiya, really a half a shever. Now, I don't know why people claim they heard from the Rebbe. I never heard it like this. I never heard my father do it. Like, my father's been there for years, so I know some people go, do. I don't know where the do comes from. It's only do. Not do. I think people confuse the way they heard it because they had a very beautiful, unique way of doing it. But it's only 3 and a bit. Do. And you don't have to make any, if you're not sure how the sounds, like how to make it sound like beautiful, don't worry, just blow. Do. Okay, we'll get the hatrua. So now we know what a shever is. A shever is made
But
of.
not that you do 2 shvarim and 2 truas. It's 3 shvarim and 1.
Oh, we're gonna get to that. That's one of my warnings. That it's a mistake if you're not concentrating. I've heard Bachman make that mistake. You go do because you're so like focused on that half. You end up blowing 2.5 or 2 and 2 bits versus 3 and a bit. So thank you for pointing that out. Yes, it's in the and there's something you have to like pay attention to while you're blowing. So you have to have kavanah literally while you're blowing, just making sure you're on ball. And as long as you'll know these questions, and again, ultimately there's only about 27, 28 questions, you'll know Hilchas, you'll really know Hilchas Shofar really that well. You guys will do it. Okay, now, so we know what a shever is. It's got to be, the technical of shever is that there's 3 of them. Each one's got to be a minimum of how many moments?
3.
3, and a maximum of?
8.
8. Shouldn't be 9 because, right? And don't like I said, don't play around with that last second. Go under. And plus, our minhag is to add, okay, now, the teruah is got to be at least teisha yalolis, 9 sobs, 9 cries. The yakala harbis b'ketani, you're allowed to go on end. Okay, very important. That's why the rosh would go blue in the face. You cannot breathe in between your teruah. If you breathe, and when you get to those suits, so not to confuse you, if you breathe, you go. You actually is that, and then you start blowing your tkiya. Are you yaitza? No, because you don't have a tarat anymore. You have a tkiya, trua, tkiya. You understand? You just broke up your order. What the Torah said, you got to have tkiya, trua, tkiya. Once you breathe, and we're going to get to breathing next case. Once you breathe, you broke it up. So you can't go. As soon as you breathe, it's 2 sounds. It's 2 notes now. So there's no more tarat. It becomes tarat. Tararat. Tkiya, trua, tkiya. Not good. So long as you're in one breath, keep going as long as you want. So long as you're not inhaling.
If you breathe, if you do more than 9 sounds,
Just breathe and don't continue. Don't just breathe and don't continue, because if you do continue, if you say, "Oh, I already did my 9, let me breathe and then do some more," no, because now what effectively you had is 1 tkiya, a trua, another trua, now a tkiya. So no trua in your sound had a tkiya before and after. Every tkiya, every trua either had a trua after or a trua before. Okay, right? Okay, got the logic. Good. Okay, if you're a bit confused, we'll sum it up in the answers. But I think it's pretty simple, right? Every tkiya has to have a beginning and an end, and therefore, what happens sometimes you're Mivtzayim and you want to finish the first set and go to the second one. So you're and you blow 2 tkiyas together without forgetting to breathe. So you might have even paused, but you didn't actually inhale. So therefore, it's actually turned out to be.
Why don't you just blow it instead of making the sounds?
I told you I've tried to avoid as much as possible because it's a minute that we don't blow at night. I'm going to blow once in a while, but it's our minute not to blow at night. It's a more Kabbalah thing. But I'll blow once in a while when necessary. If you don't understand without it, I'll be happy to blow. Okay. Every tkiya has to have a beginning and an end, and therefore you got to be careful not to connect 2 tkiyas. When the 2 tkiyas follow each other, obviously the end of a set going to the next set. Sometimes you might pause without actually, you're in such a rush, so you'll go for your sake. Now I paused, but I actually never breathed, and therefore it's not 2 notes. There's only a pause. Because then it's only 1 long tkiya. Even that's b'di eved. So b'di eved means that if I did blow without pausing, did I lose both tkiyas? So l'chatchila don't do that. It says b'di eved. B'di eved. B'di eved don't do that. I mean b'di eved you're yoytza. But the truth be told, there are shittas that say it's actually not considered, not like the last tkiya and not like the first tkiya, because you consider them 2 tkiyas. Meanwhile, there were 1, so they're not good for anything. The poil but the evid, we consider it that you're at least, it works for your tkiya, but now you have to blow a new tkiya. Okay, let's do the question 11. A usual shofar sound is the length of how many short notes? 9. Right, a total, in other words, a total shofar sound. So I'm considering tkiya, the whole shvarim set, the whole trua. So each total, a usual shofar sound is really a total of 9 notes. 9 moments, 9, right? Each middle part has how many sounds?
9.
Yeah. So each middle part has 9 sounds, which total has, each middle part has 1 sound. I'm not even sure what I'm trying to write.
2 sounds. Depends.
3 sounds. Each middle part has many sounds as it's supposed to have, Rabbi. What does that mean?
Yeah, I'm not sure. To be honest, I'm not.
Then 3, 9, or.
So let's just go with something. Okay. Each middle part has either
1 or 2 sounds. Depends.
3, 9, or 12.
It's not. No. Well. I think it's about the moments. Okay.
The next second is the moment. So
okay. Each shvarim is how many notes?
3 notes each.
Each shvarim contains 3 notes plus a half.
Wait, so what should we write for B? For like
just skip the first half of B a second, okay? I have to get back to it a second. Okay, so let's just get the brackets of the e.g. Each shvarim is 3 notes plus a half, right? So 3 shvarim total
9
notes. The trua is 9 short notes. Now, when there's a shvarim and a trua together, there's a total of
18.
Okay, yeah.
Rabbi, it doesn't make so much sense. I think it means that each shvarim is 9.
So could you repeat A and B without the...
Okay, A and B, a usual shofar sound is a length of 9 short notes. Each usual middle part is 9 sounds. It is it's a total. Okay, I'm not sure what I tried to write there. To be honest, I don't remember. So basically, each shvarim. Forget about that whole part. Let's
Rabbi,
just go straight to the EG.
When you say middle part, that would be a shvarim or a tour. I don't think it would include shvarim and trua put together.
Right, probably was doing that. I'm imagining as though each middle part has. But again, while I was trying to write 9 sounds, which is total of.
Notes and sounds, and no one knows the sound means.
Forget it a second. We're just going to go straight to the B. Each shvarim. Let's go to B, okay? Let's make believe the whole beginning didn't exist. So each shvarim is how many notes? 3 notes plus a half. I'm writing that in brackets, so because that's our minute. It's just a minute.
Hey, what does notes means? What does sound means? Okay.
Same. Okay, forget about it. It's 3 notes. It's 3 notes.
So 3 shvar equals how many? What does that mean? If it's 3.5 notes and then each shvar goes equals 9 notes, how does it mean?
Okay, you get what I'm saying. You got it. Anyways, so each one is each shvarim is 3 sounds or 3 notes. There's a total, really, each one total 9 short notes. Because I wrote short notes. That's why. Stop getting so good. Okay, I wrote short notes before. Fine, no problem. Okay, the trua is 9 short notes. And of course, when there's a shvarim and trua together, there is a total of 18 notes. Every note of a set should be the same, right? Should be the same length, yes? So every note, it's got to be the same length. So the middle, the end's got to be the same as the middle. That's my point. In C, every note of a set should be the same length. So therefore, the tkiya of the trua or shvarim series should be the length of 9 short notes. So the logic, again, to not confuse you, the logic over here is that every set's got to be the same length. So the middle and the end's got to be the same length. So in a tashat and tarat, and so let's look inside. E.g., the tkiya of the trua and the shvarim series should be 9. So you have 9 on each end and 9 moments in the middle. And the tkiya of the shvarim tkiya series should be the length of
18
sounds. If I'm guessing that made sense to most.
So what's C?
C is every note of a set should be the same length. Example, e.g., the tkiya of the trua or shvarim series should be the tkiya. It's got to be like the middle, so it has to be 9 short sounds. The length of 9 short sounds. The tkiya of the tashrat of shvarim tkiya series should be the length of 18 sounds. Okay, we may not add any.
Breaths.
Shvarim, yes, we've not allowed any shvarim, but may add as many truest as we want, so long as we don't take a
breath.
Okay. Let's do the next one quickly. My goal is to see if we can finish.
Wait, what was it? We may not add shvarim, but may add.
No more shvarms. You can't do more than 3, and of course our minutes will add a bit. Ironically, but 3 and a bit, and we could add as many truest so long as we don't breathe in between. Okay, here comes the. All right, so here's the breathing part. Every note, every note has got to be without any breaths. Let me just see what my slide looks like. Give me a second. So let's go there. No. Okay, the breaks. Even if you're rushing, you must do each sound in one breath. You must breathe in between each sound. So, right, you got a tkiya, breathe. Shvarim, breathe. Tkiya, breathe. If you did not breathe, you must do that set over because you basically did tkiya shvarim. And it's not easy. Trust me, it's not easy to breathe if you're rushing. You start going, thank you for the pink. I did not breathe once. I just went. Please grow up and stop messing the board. Thank you. Yep. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable.
What does that even say?
Okay, so the idea is that you must breathe. If you're not breathe, you have to go back because then it's like a shvarim. There's no such thing as a tkiya, a shvarim tkiya. For tashrat, only pause. Okay, here's the next part. Okay, so as mentioned, you gotta breathe tkiya, breathe shvarim, breathe. Tkiya, breathe again before you bring on the next tkiya. You gotta physically break up the sounds or it turns into one long note. You're not yoitza. Okay, tashrat, what do you do at the middle? Should you breathe in between? So now we're talking about the main ones, the Mivtza ones, the main ones, the miyushav. Do you breathe in between? What do you do with the two notes?
The one sound.
Right? So it's one sound. But it's one sound. Do you break that up or not? The answer is that actually there's a machlokes, but what you must know from Mivtza is that you pause and you do not breathe. If you breathe, and it's get a bit confusing, especially like I said, if you're in a rush, I can't. Gosh.
Rabbi, how do you pause and not breathe? Like,
yeah, how do you
He's
not?
done it many times. Very easy.
So
like 10 seconds or something without breathing.
So you just pause for a second without breathing. Now, truth be told, by the Rebbe, mostly sound like literally without a pause, almost. So this is what I do. If you want to pause a drop longer, watch I'm not breathing anything. Just stop your tongue, or we'll get to the skills and the doodle. Stop your tongue for a moment. Don't just pause without taking an inhale. If you inhale, so you got to do that all over. Let's look at the side. We'll end in, I guess we'll have to end with page 8. So I just hope, Ezrat Hashem, that we are doing well with timing. But at least we're understanding it. I'm totally satisfied. At least we're taking it in. Okay. Also, rest of halachas, some of them are simple, easy. We just go through them. This is like the hardest part because it's the real technical parts. Even though other stuff looks a bit long, the toes are going to be a bit like sophisticated, and then the rest are just quick stuff like what you should do. Easy stuff. Okay. Called Tkiya b'neshima achas. Let's finish this part and then we'll end off here. Hatkiya tzricha liyas kula b'neshima achas. To make can be considered one sound. It's got to be one sound, i.e., you cannot breathe in between. Hashvarim v'hatrua shebeseder tashrat. When you have the tashrat set, the double set, right? You're going to have a shvarim and a trua in the middle. B'tkiyas harishonos shel miyushav. The sitting ones, the ones that you do on Mivtzayim, the ones that you're going to blow the main 30, you're not tznichim l'tkoyim b'neshima achas. We go with the first view that a sound has got to be done without a breath. So every tkiya without a breath in between. Every shvarim without breathing in between. And I also have to, you can't go, that's not yoitza. It's got to be, you can't go, that wasn't yoitza. That was 3 different sounds, 3 short tkiyas or 3 broken throughs. Sorry, 3 broken shvarim. That's not a shvarim. A shvarim also got to be in one breath. So it's allowed to have breaks. You got to differentiate between break and breath. Versus so you gotta now what do you do when there's 2 sounds? The unique time where there's a shvarim and a trua. Do I break or do I not break? Machlokes. Some say because it's 2 sounds, then you should break. Some say no. If this set it's considered 1 sound, you can't break. You gotta go you gotta go straight into the next. So we go with the view. The main shita is that you cannot breathe. So it's one rule for everything. You never breathe in between a sound. So let's see. But sarich lahafsik me'at, you gotta make a short pause, like I showed you that pause logo. Bein hashvarim lebein hatrua, but oifen in such a way she's you gotta divide them. There's gotta be a shvarim then a trua. So it's gotta be a pause, but no breathing. Now, when it comes to musaf, and we'll deal with those tkiyas later. If you want to do, if you're without a minion, so we can actually deal with it soon. But if the musaf ones, you need to breathe because we want to be yaitz about shittas. So when it comes to mu'umad and say that tefillah, when it comes to the musaf blowing, you talk as a shvarim b'neshima achas, as a tur b'neshima acheres. You need to breathe by the standing ones. But mivtzayim, this is not relevant. Mivtzayim, there is no breaths. The main 30, there's no breath. The only time you breathe is if you're going to do the musaf ones. But you can't make a big hefsek. They're meant to be 1 sound. According to everyone's 1 sound. So you can't take a long 2 and then a long breath. It's got to be a quick breath inviting you for it. The shvarim, you cannot, like I just told you before, you cannot go boo, boo, boo. It's got to be boo, boo, boo without breathing. The true is not yotza. You got to start all over again because now, like I told you, you had a tkiya, a trua, another trua, and a tkiya. And the only way the Torah says you can do it is a tkiya, trua, tkiya. So if you took a breath and you're ready to 9, just move it. Okay.
What do you mean by starting the thing over? Do you start like set?
We'll get to that. So you don't have to start. You never have to start from the beginning of a set. We'll get to it soon. But the quick answer is: once you finished a tkiya through a tkiya, that is done, kosher. Let's say, by the way, I'm going to get to it soon. If I remember, like at the end, that I missed one of the first ones. Every line it's independent. Every set of tkiya through a tkiya is an independent set. If I did one line,
Rabbi, don't you have to do all 3 tashrats together or no?
No. Initially you should, but if you went out of order, obviously, but you don't go out of order. But if you remembered only later that you missed, that you think you messed up on one of your tashrats, you don't have to do a full set tashrat over. You could just do 1 set. So once you ticked off, right? Once you ticked off 1 line, any through it, we'll call them what the Torah calls them tkiya through a tkiya, right? What the trua is a question. Is it tkiya shvarim or tkiya or shvarim? Is it trua tkiya shvarim trua or shvarim trua together? Whatever that is. But the Torah wants you to blow a tkiya, trua, and a tkiya. Once you did 1 kosher, 1 check, that's done. So if you ever make a mistake, you never have to start. When we say start the set over, does not mean the beginning of all 3. It just means to start again from the tkiya. Yeah, you got that? Making sense? Okay. Again, if you're a bit confused, we'll post Be'ez Hashem the video as well.
What if you got me a lot confused?
Okay, then you watch the video many, many, many times, and then you come back to me and you say, "Wow!" If you watch 100 times, you get a shofar just for doing that. Okay.
Wait, did we just do 13, 14, 15?
But do we keep focusing or can we have the
Come on, let's go. Sha. So everything's got to be with one breath. Because the Torah says trua achas. It's got to be one trua. V'loy mufsekas time, not through ice. It's a trua. It's one set, not broken up. If you did not breathe, if you did not do it in one breath, lo you're not yotzid. You got to go back. Now we're going to say, when do you have to go completely back, or can you just start blowing through us again? We'll get to that. If you blew all of it all together in one breath, technically, if it was very clearly 3 different sounds without an inhaling, technically kosher, but minadin, poil mamish, we blow them again. So as much as possible, we consider them not invalid. Again, if you made a very clear break, but you actually didn't breathe. That did not inhale once. So technically, we could consider a kosher against, I guess, an emergency, but you're actually supposed to, not even with the Evid good, you're supposed to repeat it. Okay, questions 34 and 50.
Rabbi, what does it mean if you blew 3 tekiyos of Tashat Tarat?
I think it means all 3 blows. I think it mees tekiya, shvarim, and tekiya without making a single hefsek. Okay, 13. Each sound must be done in
one breath.
One breath, including all 3.
Shvarim.
Also in one breath, and all 9. Truas must be all done without inhaling. When it comes to the shvarim tekiya combination, at the main blowing, right, the Mivtza one, the Miyusha of the Mivtza one, we must not what?
Take a breath.
We must not breathe, but must pause in between them. Very good. When we blow them by Musaf, we must
breathe.
We must breathe, but
pause too long.
But not pause too long. But not, yeah, pause too long. It's fine. Okay. Number 15. We must, it's more of a review, we must breathe in between each sound. Otherwise, we need
do it again.
To blow them all over again, yes. Fantastic, boys. You guys are rocking and rolling. You're an inspiration. I'm serious. You're an inspiration. You're staying up late at night, learning the halachas.
Can you repeat the last one more time, please?
15?
Yeah.
We must breathe in between each sound. Otherwise, we need to blow that set all over again.
What was 14, Rabbi?
When it comes to the shvarim tekiya combination, at the main blowing, miyushav, we must not breathe, but must pause in between them. When it blow them by musaf, we must breathe, but not too long, not too much of a pause.
Rabbi, Corona's not going to stand and separate us from our Yiddish guy.
Kaharonski.
All right, thanks, Rabbi. It's been a pleasure.
Boys.
Thank you.
Pleasure for you to teach me tonight.